project in sports and entertainment marketing, we're going to be talking about archery. So first of all, we're going to talk about the agenda slide or the table of contents. So we're going to be talking about origin of archery. So what's the history of it? The key pioneers. So who made the sport or per se, who influenced the sport? The stats and some interesting facts. The trends, innovations, and tendencies. So how was archery like before and how is it now and how has it evolved? And lastly, the 6 marketing activities. So how is the sport continuously promoted? How is it boosted? And how is it staying in the loop? So first of all, we're going to be showing a video on archery from the Olympics.
Yeah, so she maybe did adjust the sight just a fraction too much. Slightly higher, going into the red. Door open for Chang, the world number 1 from Korea. Oh my goodness me! If Chang can keep up that consistency.
Oh my gosh.
And that. And a fist bump, well deserved. Absolutely superb.
Archery. So, for history, archery was around the time zone of King Henry VIII in England. And during that time, men under 60 were required to participate, so it was a compulsory sport. And around the 1900s, that's when archery was started to become a real sport, because back then, archery wasn't considered a sport. It was more considered just a hunting weapon where you'd hunt a deer or like some sort of animal. It was not really considered a sport until it participated in the games in the 1900s. And then we see now there's athletes around the world. It's a universal sport. It's in the Olympics too now. So we see athletes like Vic Wonderly. He got a silver medal from the USA. There's Im Dong-hyun from South Korea who got a gold medal, and there's Yoo Hyung-jun from South Korea who got a gold medal as well. So if you see a list of athletes now, you see there's lots of South Koreans. So over the time, South Korea has kind of just taken over the reign of just being really good at archery. So there are around 6.8 million participants in the USA per year, and majority of them are kids or teenagers at summer camps for ranged around 6 to 14 years. And summer camps use archery a lot because not only is archery a really fun sport, but it's also really easy to learn and to like adapt to it. It's not really a sport that needs a lot of stamina or fitness, so it's a really good sport for kids to start learning, and just it's a really fun sport too. There are also over 1,300 archery ranges across the USA, and as I mentioned before, South Korea dominates archery in the Olympic Games. I believe South Korea is one of like the hotspot countries that really show that how archery is a really good sport, how it has a lot of potential, and how it is evolving a lot. As you can see, there are some infographics too, which are considered also stats. So we can see there's archery nation ranking, so USA, Korea, Italy, etc. And then they show the points. So how is the archery like ranged? How is it played? How does it work? It also shows there's a 250 km/h speed of arrows, which is pretty insane. And archery is also the first sports competition in which women was included. On the right, we can see there's more stats, but you can just take a look for now. Archery. So first of all, South Korea has the most Olympic gold medals in Olympic history, and archery is the national sport in Bhutan to the point where in every single village there is an archery range. And back then, when archery was first introduced in the Olympics, Olympic athletes did not shoot the chart, but they in fact shot live pigeons. And archery was also removed from the Olympics for 50 years but reintroduced in 1972. And the first sport to include women in the Olympics is archery, and the first compound bow was made 500 years ago. So archery is a very old sport, and I believe it is one of the oldest sports in history. First of all, it's promotion, and archery needs to be promoted in some type of way. So first of all, it was implemented in the movie industry. We see movies like The Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen in her archery skills. She's really good at archery, and we all know that's her main weapon. And since the release of the book in 2012, archery was a hotspot sport for a while. So this means that the sport was like boosted continuously, and has been promoted in a way where people were inspired by her, and they started thinking how archery seems really fun, and they also got into it. I know for a fact, an example is my sister. She watched the movie, she really liked it, and now she loves archery. We also see movies like Brave, where it targets little kids too. So not only does the movie industry, the entertainment industry, promote sports, it promotes sports in different age groups also. It also became a part of the Olympic Games, and the Olympic Games is one of the biggest entertainment sports events of like all of history. So it really spread awareness of the sport and really promoted the sport because people went to maybe even specifically watch that sport for the Olympics, and it officially became a valid sport, as in it became a sport that's supposedly in the Olympics, meaning it's actually a real sport and lots of people will go and see it. And as we know, millions of people watch the sport, and some even get inspired by it and partake later on. So we can really see the connection between entertainment and sports and how promoting it really helps both sides. So, archery is also in school clubs, it's in summer camps, and there's even archery teams around Canada. And we also have archery ranges in stores. So all of these lead up to sales and getting money. So in school clubs, it's very popular, and schools make you pay about maybe $80 like in Streetsville to pay and to play the game. So that means we do pay and they make sales from it. And in summer camps too, you pay for the camp and you get money from it. And you teach them archery. And there's also archery teams where you might have to pay to be in the team. And there's also independent companies where they have archery ranges and stores. So they may sell bows and arrows and like equipment for athletes. And they also have ranges where you can just go and have fun and play and pay money for a specific time slot. Place or distribution. So in social media, that is a place in where they distribute videos of archery and they show archery as a fun sport. And I said before, there's archery pages, there's clips of archery, and there's informative videos. And there's also esports and video mobile games like Game Pigeon 2 and Wii Sports. And these are all areas where archery is used and distributed as a sport. And there's also Olympics, which is a place, and I feel Olympics is one of the most important spots about archery, where archery really expanded as a sport. And there's also streaming services. We see people, you have to like paying to watch a certain tournament, or people paying to watch the Olympics too. You can watch the Olympics on the phone, and even Netflix and YouTube are streaming services where you can just watch all sorts of videos. So we're going to talk about branding. Although archery isn't really a brand itself, lots of brands use archery for their advantage. So first of all, on social media, we see archery pages where athletes have pages of themselves posting videos of them getting cool shots or trick shots. And we also have archery teams, promoting their pages on Instagram. And we also have short clips of archery on TikTok and Instagram Reels where we see people, showing their archery skills and getting a perfect bullseye, etc. And there's also informative videos of archery on YouTube, and perhaps there's even documentaries on Netflix. And all of these can also lead up to, people showing trick shots and then, shooting apple. So this really is the connection between entertainment and sports. And then we see there's esports in video or mobile games like Wii Sports. Wii Sports is they like to promote sports and they use archery also. Archery is very popular in that game. So that's also a type of brand and promotion that they're using. And Game Pigeon too, so it really does attract every single age group. And Game Pigeon is a brand for Apple where they have all types of sorts of different games. So although archery isn't a specific type of product, archery is innovating and there are developments about the sport. So yeah, there's innovation of equipment. So nowadays there's different types of bows, there's arrow designs, you can get plastic or feather, and there's also equipment to accommodate the wants and needs of athletes. So some athletes may need some wrist protectors or they may need some sights for their bows, and there's different types of bows too. So it really has innovated into a very, very broad sport with lots of variety, and that's what's great about the sport too. It really accommodates you and about what you want, and it really helps you figure it out. It's similar to sales. So there's archery equipment and places around the whole world where there's the cost of bows, arrows, etc., and other equipment. And there's also the payment for ranges, and there's also archery tournaments you may need to pay for, and you may need to pay to be in the team. So all this leads to pricing because what we want in the sports entertainment industry is, we want you to pay for it, but we also want you to have fun. And there's also streaming services where you can pay to watch the Olympics, and you can pay to watch, on Netflix, or maybe some little videos on archery too. And this all leads to the price, as I said before. In conclusion, although it's not one of the most popular sports, I believe that archery is constantly evolving, as it is one of the oldest sports, it's one of the most respected sports, and it's also innovated as a hunting technique to a universal sport. So archery has really, I believe, is one of the most evolved sports. You know, it was used as a hunting weapon. Now it's a great sport that everyone can play. And thank you for listening to my presentation. And these are also the sources cited. And thank you.